The Black Belt region is known for its incredible, rich, dark soil, and is also known for its persistent poverty. What was really important when I started my work in the deeper South was to address those issues. And really, more specifically, what does land and the land development have to do with it? How do we develop land to impact the livelihood of local communities so that you can transition out of a persistent poverty narrative? My name is Euneika Rogers-Sipp, and I am the Chief Regenerative Officer for Sustainable Rural Regenerative Enterprises for Families. Most recently, I was involved in working with families to develop their communities into destinations. Most of the destinations have been transitioning into agricultural destinations. So we look at the conservation, the historical stories that are related to the land. And so we work with them to create more opportunities for visitors. And it also creates an opportunity for them to have additional income beyond what their normal agricultural experience would be. So when we work with the community, for example, when we work with our pilot community, Gee's Bend in Alabama, this was a community that is isolated for the most part from a main hub. So most people wouldn't think about visiting this place. What we wanted to do with them was create the opportunity for more visitor experiences through, for example, the built infrastructure. And we did that by partnering with the communities, with the family members, and we said to the community as a whole, what is it that you think is of value that you want to share with the public? Coming from a region which has been historically oppressed, that has had discrimination sort of baked into its existence, it's really important that we look at equity, and equity has been central into how we measure our outcomes. We convene and we bring stakeholders together, and we're constantly asking the question, who's at the table? Whose voices have not been present? We ask the question of what are the injustices that have occurred, and how do we begin to develop our outcomes so that we're giving it full attention to those injustices. So when I talk about the regenerative practice, I'm referring to being able to turn something, take something, for example, waste, and return it back to its nutrient state. I was introduced to that practice as a fashion student where I was formerly trained in design. I studied the waste stream, and I was able to take clothing in the waste stream and turn it into art products, clothing, wearable clothing for a lot of artists and a lot of musicians. And that opened up this whole investigation into like closed loop recycling and the power of that. And when you come from communities such as I did, which don't have many resources, that's a valuable resource. Being at the GSD, I'm having the opportunity to take the time to examine my regenerative practice, for example, going back to the roots of that and bringing it around full circle. I'm able to even regenerate myself. I'm doing that through these amazing minds that are coming through this university. I'm really inspired by how this fellowship has been curated with sort of the sister communities that I've discovered through fellow cohort members. For example, Alejandro Echeverri, his work that he's doing in Colombia, and how he solves as an architect has really opened my ability to look at the issues that we're facing in a much more deep way.